The gap between where you are and where you could be is not a matter of luck, timing, or circumstances. It's a matter of savagery, your willingness to reject comfortable mediocrity and embrace uncomfortable excellence. Society celebrates work-life balance, while the truly successful pursue work-life integration with savage intensity. Your social circle praises you for being reasonable, while the extraordinary few are being unreasonable in their demands of themselves. The education system taught you to follow directions, while innovation requires breaking rules. Your family and friends encourage you to play it safe, while wealth and impact come from calculated risks. The masses seek security, while the savage seek growth at any cost. The average person works hard enough not to get fired, and the company works hard enough not to fire them. A conspiracy of mediocrity that guarantees ordinary results. The savage truth is that there's no nobility in struggling within your comfort zone when greatness lies just beyond it. Stop waiting for permission to become extraordinary. Right now, someone just like you is making the decision that will change everything. The only difference between them and you, they've chosen to become a savage. Not in the primitive sense, but in their relentless pursuit of greatness. The savage person doesn't accept the ordinary, doesn't settle for good enough, and never ever makes excuses. They take what they want from life because they've earned it through sweat, sacrifice, and unwavering determination. Every single day you make choices. Small choices that seem meaningless in the moment but compound over time to create your life, the coffee or the workout, the TV show or the book, the complaint or the solution, the excuse or the result. Savages make different choices. They choose the harder path, not because it's harder, but because it leads to extraordinary outcomes. Your potential is like a muscle. It grows when stretched to its limits, when pushed past what's comfortable. Yet most people never even approach their limits. They live at 40 of their capability and wonder why success eludes them. The savage lives at the edge of their potential, constantly pushing that boundary outward. Ask yourself, what would happen if for just 90 days you lived with absolute intention? If you eliminated all excuses, if you attacked each day with ferocious commitment to your goals, your life would become unrecognizable. This is how savages live, occasionally but consistently, relentlessly, as a way of being. The savage mindset isn't something you're born with. It's something you build decision by decision, day by day. It starts with a choice. It's a choice to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever could. Let's talk about what being a savage really means. It's not about aggression or intimidation. It's about an uncompromising commitment to your own growth and achievement. The savage doesn't compete with others. They compete only with the person they were yesterday. A savage lives by a different set of rules. When others sleep, the savage works. When others quit, the savage finds another gear. When others make excuses, the savage finds solutions. When others complain about circumstances, the savage creates new circumstances. The savage knows their worth. They understand their value. They recognize that true confidence comes not from comparing yourself to others, but from comparing yourself to your own standards. Standards that should rise continuously as you grow. Think about the greats in any field, business, sports, science, art. What sets them apart isn't talent. It's their savage approach to mastery. They outwork, outlearn, and outperform their competition, not by small margins, but by miles. They don't aim to be slightly better. They aim to be in a category of one. You don't need more information to become savage. You don't need another book, another seminar, another motivational video. You already know what to do. The savage mindset isn't about knowing, it's about doing. Taking consistent, persistent action toward your most important goals. Becoming savage means refusing to accept whatever life hands you. It means taking control, setting the terms, and creating exactly what you want. The savage doesn't hope for a better future. They create it hour by hour, day by day. The world is full of people playing small. They set modest goals and still fail to reach them. They dream tiny dreams and wonder why they're not inspired. The savage thinks big, almost unreasonably big. They set goals that seem impossible, then break them down into daily actions that make the impossible inevitable. Mediocrity is a choice. Average is a decision you make every single day. Excellence isn't something you do occasionally. It's a habit. It's a standard you refuse to drop below no matter what. Breaking through mediocrity requires you to make peace with discomfort. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. Every time you choose comfort over growth, You're choosing to remain where you are. The savage chooses growth consistently, even when, especially when, think about this. Every skill, every capability, every achievement you desire lies on the other side of hard work and temporary discomfort. The price of admission to an extraordinary life is your willingness to do what ordinary people won't. Consider the workout analogy. Muscles don't grow during the easy reps. They grow when you push through the hard ones, when the weight feels impossible, but you find a way to complete the rep anyway. Life works the same way. Your capacity expands when you push through resistance, not when you avoid it. Look at any area where you're experiencing frustration. That frustration isn't a sign to quit. It's a sign that you're exactly where you need to be at the edge of your current capability, ready to break through to a new level. Breaking through mediocrity means eliminating the safety nets that make average acceptable. When failure becomes genuinely painful, success becomes the only option. The savage creates situations where they must succeed because the alternative is unthinkable. The savage understands that extraordinary results require extraordinary efforts. If you want what others don't have, you must do what others won't do. There are no shortcuts, no magic formulas, no secret techniques that will give you success without effort. Every significant achievement in human history came from someone willing to pay the price that achievement demanded. The 4-minute mile, the moonshot, the billion-dollar company, all required people who refused to accept the limitations that stopped everyone else. They're willing to sacrifice what they want now for what they want most. The temporary pleasure of distraction for the lasting satisfaction of achievement. The comfort of routine for the excitement of growth. The safety of the known for the opportunity of the new. The savage takes radical responsibility for everything in their life. They never blame, complain, or make excuses. They understand a fundamental truth. The moment you blame something or someone outside yourself for your situation is the moment you surrender your power to change it. Take a moment now to consider any area of your life where you're not getting the results you want. Are you taking full responsibility, or are you finding reasons why it's not your fault? The savage looks in the mirror first, always. Most people live as victims of circumstance. They believe their lives are shaped by forces beyond their control. The savage knows better. They understand that while they can't control every event, they can control their response to every event. And that response determines their outcomes. What would this look like if I took 100% responsibility? Your relationships, your health, your career, your finances. How would your approach change if you eliminated all excuses and owned every result? The savage doesn't wait for conditions to be perfect. They don't wait for motivation or inspiration. They act regardless of how they feel, knowing that the right actions performed consistently will eventually produce the right feelings. When you take radical responsibility, you stop seeing problems as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities. Every challenge becomes a chance to grow stronger, smarter, more resilient. The savage doesn't avoid problems. They seek them out, knowing that solving difficult problems creates disproportionate rewards. Taking responsibility means focusing on what you can control and ignoring what you can't. You can't control the economy, but you can control your skills. You can't control others' opinions, but you can control your work ethic. You can't control the past, but you can control what you do next. The savage creates systems of accountability. They don't trust their future selves to make the right choices. They create structures that make success inevitable and failure difficult. They share their goals publicly. They invest money in their commitments. They eliminate escape routes. Most people underestimate what they can accomplish in a year of focused, disciplined effort. They overestimate what's possible in a day and underestimate what's possible in a decade. The savage thinks long-term but acts with daily urgency. In a world of shortcuts and life hacks, the savage embraces the essential truth. There's no substitute for disciplined action. Day after day, regardless of mood, motivation, or circumstance, this is how extraordinary results are achieved. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about freedom. When you build the habit of doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not, you free yourself from the tyranny of mood and motivation. You become unstoppable. The savage doesn't need perfect conditions to take action. They don't need to feel motivated. They don't need the stars to align. They need only the awareness of what must be done and the commitment to do it no matter what. Think about the most successful person you know personally. I guarantee their success didn't come from occasional bursts of inspiration. It came from consistent, disciplined action over time. Small things done consistently create remarkable results. Most people dramatically overestimate what they can accomplish in a day and dramatically underestimate what they can accomplish in a year. The savage doesn't try to transform overnight. They focus on small daily improvements that compound over time. Discipline means doing the important things, not just the urgent things. It means working on your big goals first, not last. It means protecting your most valuable time for your most valuable activities. The savage is ruthless about eliminating low-value tasks that consume time but produce little. The hallmark of the savage is their ability to do what others won't, to wake up early while others sleep, to work while others relax, to learn while others are entertained, to save while others spend, to persist while others quit. Discipline means understanding the connection between today's actions and tomorrow's results. The workout you skip today doesn't affect you today. It affects you 3 months from now. The book you don't read today doesn't limit you today. That limits you next year. The savage sees these connections clearly. Here's the paradox. Discipline looks like constraint but creates freedom. It looks like sacrifice but creates abundance. It looks like hardship but creates ease. The temporary discomfort of discipline is nothing compared to the permanent pain of regret. The savage builds discipline through small daily victories. They don't try to transform overnight. They focus on winning the morning, then winning the day, then winning the week. Each small victory builds confidence and momentum for the next challenge. Most people set goals based on what they think is possible. The savage sets goals based on what they want, regardless of whether it seems possible right now. They know that the right goal will force them to become the person capable of achieving it. When you set savage goals, where something magical happens, your focus sharpens, your energy intensifies, your creativity awakens, problems that seemed insurmountable suddenly have solutions. Resources you didn't know existed become available. The universe seems to conspire to help you. The savage doesn't just set goals, they obsess over them, they think about them constantly. They visualize their achievement in vivid detail. They feel the emotions of success before it happens. They become so aligned with their goals that failure becomes impossible. Most people set goals and then wait for motivation to achieve them. The savage understands that action precedes motivation, not the other way around. They take action toward their goals every day, whether they feel motivated or not, knowing that motivation will follow. Because savage sets goals in every important area: career, finances, health, relationships, personal growth, contribution. They understand that true success means balance, not just achievement in one domain at the expense of everything else. Here's a savage approach to goal setting. 10x your targets, whatever you think you can achieve in a year, multiply it by 10, then work backward to create a plan. This forces you to think completely differently about your approach. You can't achieve 10x results with conventional methods. The savage's goals have deadlines, specific, immovable deadlines. A goal without a deadline is just a wish. Deadlines create urgency, focus, and commitment. They force decisions and actions that might otherwise be postponed indefinitely. Most people abandon their goals at the first sign of difficulty. The savage expects difficulty. They plan for it. They welcome it, knowing that the obstacles are where most people quit, and therefore where the greatest opportunities exist. The savage doesn't just pursue goals. They pursue growth. They know that who they become in the pursuit matters more than what they achieve. The achievement is temporary, the growth is permanent. Please show me your morning routine, and I'll show you your future. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. The savage knows this and creates a morning ritual that builds momentum, energy, clarity, and confidence. While the world sleeps, the savage prepares. Early mornings have a magic that late nights never will. The mind is fresh, willpower is strong, distractions are minimal. An hour of focused effort before others wake can produce results that might take 3 hours later in the day. The savage's morning doesn't begin with the world's agenda. No email, no social media, no news. These things put you in a reactive state, responding to others' priorities instead of focusing on your own. The first hour belongs to you and your most important goals. Physical movement is non-negotiable in the savage morning ritual. When you move your body, you change your biochemistry, energy increases, mood improves, thinking clarifies. Even 10 minutes of intense exercise can transform your mental state for hours. The savage uses the morning for mental preparation, visualization of key outcomes, review of major goals, strategic thinking about the day ahead. This mental rehearsal programs the subconscious to recognize and seize opportunities throughout the day. Most people rush into their day without clear priorities. The savage takes time each morning to identify the 1-3 tasks that will move the needle most significantly. These become non-negotiable commitments to be completed regardless of what else the day brings. The savage morning includes learning, reading, listening, or watching content that expands knowledge, challenges thinking, or provides new strategies. Even 15 minutes daily compounds into over 90 hours of learning annually, the equivalent of 2 full college courses. A good key element of the savage morning: gratitude. Deliberate focus on what's working, what's available, what's possible. This isn't feel-good fluff. It's strategic mental positioning. Gratitude creates an abundance mindset that sees opportunities instead of obstacles. The savage protects their morning ritual fiercely. They don't let anything interfere with it. Not late nights, not urgent requests, not the temptation to sleep in. They understand that consistency, and this keystone habit creates consistency everywhere else. Every savage achievement begins with confronting fear, not eliminating it, using it. Fear is not your enemy. Properly understood, it's a powerful ally directing your attention to what matters most and providing energy for exceptional performance. The savage doesn't wait for fear to disappear before taking action. They know it never will. Instead, they learn to act despite fear, alongside fear, even because of fear. They recognize that the presence of fear often signals they're moving in exactly the right direction. Most people misunderstand fear. They think it means stop when it really means important. Fear signals something that matters, something with real stakes, something worth pursuing. The savage follows their fear like a compass pointing toward growth. The biological purpose of fear is protection. But in modern life, what we need protection from isn't physical danger, but psychological comfort. Comfort is the enemy of growth. The savage uses fear as an indicator that they're pushing beyond comfortable limitations. The 5-second rule: when you feel fear about something you know you should do, count down from 5, then move physically. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. This bypasses the overthinking that fear creates and propels you into action. The savage reframes fear as excitement. Physiologically, they're nearly identical: increased heart rate, heightened awareness, adrenaline release. The difference is merely interpretation. Train yourself to interpret these sensations as readiness rather than danger. Most people try to eliminate uncertainty, not realizing that uncertainty is where all possibilities exist. The savage becomes comfortable with uncertainty, knowing that the ability to function effectively despite unclear outcomes is a superpower in any field. The savage understands that courage isn't the absence of fear, but action in the face of fear. They build their courage muscle through deliberate practice, taking small risks daily, gradually expanding their comfort zone until what once seemed impossible becomes routine. Fear of failure keeps most people from even attempting their most important goals. The savage redefines failure as feedback, as education, as a necessary step toward mastery. They don't try to avoid failure. They fail strategically, rapidly, and with purpose. The savage knows that time is their most precious resource. Unlike money, time can never be earned back once spent. They guard their time with ferocious intensity, eliminating, delegating, or automating anything that doesn't directly contribute to their most important goals. So most people allow their time to be controlled by others, by interruptions, by requests, by the tyranny of the urgent. The savage takes ownership of their schedule. They don't find time for important activities. They schedule time and protect it religiously. The savage understands opportunity cost. Every minute spent on one activity is a minute that cannot be spent on another. They constantly ask, well, is this the highest and best use of my time right now? If the answer is no, they change activities immediately. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. The savage uses this principle to their advantage, setting aggressive deadlines that create urgency and focus. A task that might take 3 hours with an open-ended timeline often takes 1 hour with a deadline. The savage eliminates the unimportant. They are as strategic about what they don't do as what they do. They regularly review their activities, commitments, and relationships, ruthlessly cutting anything that doesn't contribute significant value to their goals or well-being. Most people waste hours daily on social media, news, television, and other low-value activities. The savage is intentional about consumption. They ask, will this information help me achieve my goals? Will it make me more effective? Will it bring me closer to the person I want to become? The savage batches similar tasks: email, phone calls, meetings, administrative work. Grouping these activities creates efficiency through momentum and eliminates the productivity-killing effects of context switching. Time blocking is a savage strategy. Assigning specific hours to specific activities ensures that important work isn't pushed aside by urgent interruptions. The savage doesn't just hope to find time for deep work. They schedule and defend those blocks aggressively. The savage understands that energy management is as important as time management. They schedule their most demanding tasks during their peak energy periods and use lower energy times for less demanding activities. They recognize that an hour of work at peak energy often produces more than 3 hours of work when depleted. In a world designed to distract, focus is a superpower. The savage develops extraordinary focus through deliberate practice, gradually building their attention span while most others allow theirs to deteriorate. Focus begins with elimination. The savage ruthlessly removes distractions from their environment. The phone goes on do not disturb. Now notifications are disabled. Email is closed. The door is shut. They create conditions where deep focus is the path of least resistance. Most people allow their attention to be fragmented all day, jumping between tasks, constantly checking devices, responding to every notification. The savage understands that this destroys productivity and creativity. They work in focused blocks, giving complete attention to one important task. The savage practices monotasking, not multitasking. They know multitasking is a myth. The brain cannot focus on two cognitively demanding tasks simultaneously. It can only switch between them, with each switch incurring a productivity tax. Monotasking produces better results in less time. When distracting thoughts arise during focused work, and the savage doesn't fight them directly. Instead, they note the thought and gently return focus to the task at hand. With practice, the mind learns to sustain attention for increasingly long periods. So most people never experience the state of flow, complete absorption in challenging, meaningful work. The savage creates conditions for flow daily, clear goals, immediate feedback, skills matched to challenge, distraction-free environment. In this state, productivity can increase fivefold. The savage understands that focus is muscle. It strengthens with use and weakens with neglect. They deliberately train their focus through progressively longer periods of concentrated work, gradually building from 15 minutes to 90 minutes or more. Focus requires clarity about priorities. The savage begins each work session by identifying the specific outcome they're pursuing. This clarity eliminates the mental friction that occurs when the brain isn't sure exactly what it's trying to accomplish. The savage creates accountability for focus. They track focus time, they share goals publicly, they work with others when appropriate, they use tools that measure productive time, they create consequences for distraction and rewards for sustained attention. The difference between extraordinary results and ordinary ones often comes down to small, consistent improvements over time. The savage understands the power of the one rule. Improving by just 1% daily compounds to a 3,800 improvement in a year. Most people overestimate what they can achieve in a day and underestimate what they can achieve in a year of consistent effort. The savage focuses on daily progress, knowing that small wins compound into massive results over time. The savage doesn't get discouraged by slow initial progress. They understand the nature of compounding, that results are barely noticeable at first but accelerate dramatically over time. They trust the process and focus on consistent action rather than immediate outcomes. Each small improvement creates momentum for the next. The savage uses this momentum strategically, starting with easily achievable improvements that build confidence and motivation for more challenging changes. The savage applies the 1D rule systematically across all important areas: skills, knowledge, relationships, health, finances. They identify specific actions that will create small improvements in each area and execute these actions daily. Most people think growth should feel dramatic and transformative. The savage knows better. Real growth often feels subtle and unremarkable in the moment. It's only when you look back over months or years that you see how far you've come. The savage tracks progress meticulously. They measure key metrics regularly, creating objective feedback that motivates continued effort and highlights areas needing attention. What gets measured improves. What gets measured and reported improves exponentially. The savage understands that improvement compounds in two ways: directly through the accumulation of small gains and indirectly through the habits, skills, and mindset developed in the process. Even if you fall short of a specific goal, the person you become through the pursuit creates value throughout your life. The savage sets improvement triggers, specific events or times that automatically initiate improvement activities: before breakfast, after work. During commutes, these triggers eliminate the need for willpower and decision-making, making improvement. Mental toughness, the ability to persist through difficulty, to maintain focus despite distraction, to continue despite fatigue or discouragement, is the savage's most valuable asset. Without it, talent, opportunity, and strategy are wasted. The savage builds mental toughness through deliberate discomfort, cold showers, fasting, high-intensity training, public speaking, difficult conversations. Regular exposure to controlled discomfort builds the psychological muscles needed for extraordinary achievement. Most people avoid discomfort at all costs, not realizing that this weakens them mentally and emotionally. The savage seeks out challenging situations, understanding that the strength gained through overcoming them pays dividends across all areas of life. The savage reframes challenges. What others see as problems, they see as opportunities. What others experience as stress, they experience as stimulation. This reframing isn't denial or toxic positivity. It's strategic interpretation that creates empowering emotion. Resilience isn't about avoiding failure. It's about recovering quickly. The savage develops rapid recovery skills, the ability to acknowledge setbacks, extract lessons, and return to constructive action without wasting energy on regret, blame, or self-pity. Most people quit when results don't come quickly enough. The savage commits to the long game. They understand that significant achievements require extended effort, and that persistence is often the primary differentiator between success and failure. The savage develops specific mental toughness routines for different situations, pre-performance routines that create optimal states for challenging tasks, recovery routines that process failure constructively, and daily practices that build baseline resilience. Emotional control is a cornerstone of mental toughness. The savage doesn't eliminate emotions. They manage them. They recognize emotional triggers and develop strategies to maintain effectiveness regardless of emotional state. The savage sees challenges not as obstacles but as training. Each difficult situation, each setback, each period of adversity is an opportunity to strengthen mental capabilities. They don't just endure these experiences, they extract maximum growth from them. In a world of exponential change, learning isn't optional. It's survival. The savage approaches learning with strategic intensity, focusing not on random information but on high-leverage knowledge that creates disproportionate results. The savage doesn't learn passively. They learn actively, taking notes, asking questions, teaching others, applying concepts immediately. This active engagement accelerates understanding and retention while making learning immediately valuable. Most people approach learning haphazardly. The savage is systematic. They identify specific knowledge gaps that, if filled, would create significant advances toward their goals. They focus learning efforts on these high-impact areas. The savage leverages the experience of others. They study those who have already achieved what they're pursuing, extracting principles and strategies to adapt to their own situation. They don't reinvent the wheel. They stand on the shoulders of giants. The savage doesn't just consume information. They create systems to organize, store, and apply it. They build personal knowledge management systems that make information retrievable and actionable when needed. Most people confuse information with knowledge and knowledge with wisdom. The savage understands the difference. Information becomes knowledge when organized and understood. Knowledge becomes wisdom when applied successfully to real problems. The savage prioritizes learning by doing over learning by consuming. They implement ideas quickly, gaining the invaluable feedback that comes from application. They understand that implementation, even if imperfect, teaches more than definite study. The savage creates learning feedback loops. They test ideas in real conditions, observe results, adjust approach, and test again. This iterative process accelerates understanding far beyond what's possible through passive consumption. The savage diversifies learning sources, books, mentors, courses, direct experience, reflection, teaching others. This multi-channel approach creates robust understanding that survives contact with real-world complexity. The time for average is over. The time for excuses is finished. The time for waiting has passed. The savage life is calling you right now. It demands everything: your focus, your discipline, your courage, your persistence. It promises nothing except the opportunity to become everything you're capable of being. Most people die with their best still inside them. Their greatest ideas never expressed. Their deepest gifts never shared. Their most important work never created. Don't let this be you. Become the savage who extracts every ounce of potential from this one precious life. The savage path isn't easy, but it's simple. Decide what you want. Create a plan to achieve it. Execute that plan with relentless consistency. Adjust when necessary. Never ever quit on something that matters. This formula works in any field, for any person, at any time. The greatest risk isn't failure. It's regret. It's looking back and wondering what might have been if you committed fully to your dreams. The savage eliminates this risk by going all in on what matters most, holding nothing back, leaving everything on the field. Remember this: no one is coming to save you. No one is going to discover you. No one is going to create the life you want except you. This isn't depressing. It's liberating. Your life is entirely in your hands. The savage embraces this responsibility completely. Starting now, refuse to settle. Refuse to make excuses. Refuse to let circumstances determine your outcomes. Become the savage who writes their own story, creates their own opportunities, and builds their own extraordinary life. The savage inside you is waiting. It's been there all along, whispering whenever you've caught glimpses of your true potential. Today, stop whispering and start roaring. Step fully into your power. Become the person you've always known you could be. The world needs your savage self, your best work, your highest contribution, your full potential expressed. Playing small serves no one. Be bold. Be courageous. Be savage in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire. Your savage journey begins with a single decision. The decision to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever could. Make that decision now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when conditions are perfect. Now. Everything changes the moment you truly decide. Go forth and become savage. The extraordinary life you've imagined is waiting on the other side of that decision.